So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to look through my annotated bibliography and figure out a working outline, preliminary outline for how I can be organizing my information. It'll also give me, doing this before note-taking will also give me an idea of if there's anything that I need to possibly do further research on, that I need to be thinking about, or things that I need to or should be thinking about, can be thinking about while I am taking notes. So I'm going to work through, just really quickly recap my sources is a sample outline from, a sample annotated bibliography rather, from a couple of years ago. So I'm going to work through my sources, and I'm going to kind of just think aloud, what are the sources about, so I can kind of see what are some of the common areas that my sources fall under. So my first one's a YouTube video. It's called Little Game. It's talking about traditional gender roles and stereotypes and archetypes and commonalities. My second one is from the Law Library of Congress. It's looking at married women's property laws, as you can see from the title, talking about different types of legislation as far as gender discrimination and rights for women. The next one doesn't have an annotation, but it's on gender equality. It's from gender equality, and it's a marriage contract, so I'm guessing that would be something like the legislation that I could tie in there. The next one, Emily Reyes, Men Are Second Gender Roles, could tie in with the Little Game video there. It talks about gender evolution of women breaking stereotypes, but not men, so possibly could talk about female gender roles or female rights. So this could be a source that works for both of my main points. What I'm thinking are my main points. I'm seeing two different things right now. The next one is looking at men again. So kind of looking at discrimination or gender roles. And I'm seeing a lot of commonalities, but different, like how men are affected and how women are affected. So this one would go with the men again. Gender roles, discrimination. Doesn't really seem to talk a lot about women, so seems to focus on men. My next source is from Elizabeth Cady Stanton. It's a speech, and back to the women and the women's rights, what they're allowed to do. Next one is from UN. It's an infographic looking at the history of women's rights. Looks like it leans more towards the women again. You could talk about how like men already would have had those rights, that kind of thing. So possibly a crossover one again. The next one, from the Daily Dot, Ray Voda, doesn't have a description, unfortunately, so I'd have to go back and watch it again to see where or what type of gender stereotypes we're talking about. And then my last source, Elizabeth Whitforth, looks like a letter and legislation and women's property. So looking through my sources, the main things that I seem to have are men and women, but I also seem to, at least for the women, have kind of like a here's what it was in the past with the different speeches, and then sorry, I'm scrolling through. I scrolled too far on you. Looking at either the men are stuck or the infographic could be looking at the current. So comparing the past and present could also be something that I end up talking about. So for you, and reflected in your annotated bibliography, look through your sources, what are some of the big ideas or the big issues, the big perspectives, the different things that you could talk about. What are some of those, are there different categories that they all fall under? And then right now, what do you think your main points might be? It's just a working outline, kind of giving you an idea of things to look at and ways to organize your information on your outline and for your notes.